So this leg is all about, I'll just put it in English. Flying the following route from Stuttgart to Baden Airpark via Karlsruhe and Karlsruhe to Mike arrival route, added by a valid sit depending on the active runway. And over KBA, Kilo Bravo Alpha, that's an NDB, we will fly a parallel entry into the published holding. Fly at least 2 holdings and then fly the published LS approach on the active runway. In the lag report we shall answer the question which safeties are concerned by the minimum vectoring altitude, and we will go into further detail about that later. Let's just first look at the charts. I got right here the formulas at hand to calculate the wind correction. As soon as we pass the fix, we will calculate on the present winds, because yesterday I tried with the surface winds, but that went all wrong because it was only 1/3 of the actual upper wind. That's why I will try to calculate that real quick today. When we are passing the fix, I will just find the wind at the fix and then correct for that. And now I only need one more thing, and that is Stuttgart. At the moment, fortunately, we still have ADC over there. And the active runway is still runway 25. At Baden, we can also aim for runway 21. That's not that difficult because the LS approach on runway 21 is not that difficult. I have made some preparations already. I like to visualize what I'm gonna do in Flight Sim Commander, because Flight Sim Commander is quite powerful in doing such things. And you can see here we get the Karlsruhe 4 Bravo departure route to Karlsruhe VOR. That is right there. And then out of Karlsruhe direct to Kilo Bravo Alpha. That's the NDB right over there. And I've also entered in here the holding. We will see that on the chart real quick. We will fly exactly that holding. As you can see, we're coming from Karlsruhe from that side, and from that side we make a parallel entry. That means we're flying at the opposite direction of the inbound lag, and at 1 minute we make the turn right here, fly direct to the fix again, and then enter the hold and fly that holding. That holding is right turns 1 minute, and after that it's going to be the published LS approach runway 21 for our category. There's an angle which we have to fly a certain distance. There's a DME over here to land at Baden Airpark. So what does all that mean? First of all, we need the sit for runway 25 in Stuttgart. That's Dinkelsbühl 4 Bravo, and that is not even correct because it's Dinkelsbühl 8 Bravo. No, we're not flying by Dinkelsbühl, but we have Karlsruhe, so it's Karlsruhe 4 Bravo. That's on radio 252 Stuttgart to 5.6 dB Stuttgart. Right turn maximum 230 knots until established on track 340, on track to 340 when crossing radial 238 Lübeck, left turn on track 337 to Abgan. When on track 277 to Karlsruhe, climb with 4% climb angle or more until passing 1900, climb with 5% or more until passing 4000, because there's some terrain over there. So that is that in short, and that's what it looks like. We will be departing runway 25 and that's the right turn at 5.9 at DME Stuttgart. Then it is track 340 until 238, until the radial 238 loop work. To Afghan. Then it's a left turn to Karlsruhe. Just going to put that up for the reference so that you can see what we're doing. So that is that route. Okay, that's the Karlsruhe for Bravo departure. Not too easy again, but we're gonna do that. Then it's the Karlsruhe to Mike arrival. It's not too difficult. It's basically on the radial 238 Karlsruhe to Karlsruhe Baden-Baden. You can see there's also DME 115.8, and that's what we need for runway 21. I can close that. But first of all, we're going to fly the published holding over Karlsruhe, and since we're coming from here, that's going to be parallel entry right here. Then we circle 2 times, and then it's category 1 for us, and I can't even see that angle. Number 1 is 043, number 2 is 047. So let's just hope for not too heavy winds, because that's going to be, otherwise it's going to be a lot of wind correction factors. Also, you can see here minimum holding altitude is 6,000 feet. Alright, that's going to be a lot of frequency switching. Let's just get our setup for the initial part. that's gonna be nav 1 is Stuttgart 11685. Can just edit that. Nav 2's gonna be the radial 238 Luburg 109.2. That on standby already. And the next in nav 1 is going to be Karlsruhe VOR 115905. 115905. We put that on standby. And the nav2 standby is going to be our DME in Karlsruhe. That's 115.8 Karlsruhe DME. .8. So VOR1 is set up for a course 252. That's from our landing, so that is still valid for the departure. The radial 252 until 5.9 at DME. And on the nav2 we want to have the radial 238 Luburg. So let's just switch that. Radial 238 Luburg. That is that. That's it. So we'll also set up the GPS for that departure route. That's gonna be just export that. Huh, that's cool, that's in there already. Whoops. Abkan, Karlsruhe, and that should be KBA. is KVA 1. Okay, that should do. We'll make it a little bit easier because that way we don't need all the wind corrections on the departure already. Anyways, we're going to fly the first first radial on that VOR and then only switch to GPS. So the last thing that we're gonna need is the ADF set up for Baden-Baden 431. Alright, then it's the flight plan. We are flying IFR, we are general aviation. Beach 20 from Stuttgart. And that's gonna be Karlsruhe for Bravo departure. For Bravo. And then it's Karlsruhe to Mike arrival route. Cruising flight level 100. Now we're gonna need some more time due to the holding. Habe ich schon längst. Ich fahre nochmal nachher. Right, departure time. is that? Holy crap, that's IFR. I think that's just caused by a broken cloud layer that is hanging quite low. Oh well, that's the same. Weird. Can we just stay with that? And there is ground online. Initial climb in Stuttgart is 5,000 feet. So latest information from Stuttgart recorded today, 2120 Zulu, wind 350 at 18 knots. Visibility 6 kilometers, rain in the vicinity, scattered clouds 800, broken 2000, temperature 5 degrees, 2.4 degrees, QNH 1016. Arrival and departure runway 25, transition levels level 60, transition altitude 5000, whenever we contact Langen on 127.05. And that's it. Stuttgart Ground, guten Abend, Delta in Sierra Charlie Oscar, Information November, Request Startup. Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar cleared Baden Airport via Karlsruhe for Bravo departure runway 25, squawk 0002. Will go Delta Charlie Oscar. What is that? Since when can you dial a 9 into the squawk? How is that possible? Interesting feature. fill out those engines. Oops, there's a fuel block on. What's that? Oh, I know what it is. Alright. Dead End Sierra Charlie Oscar, request taxi, we are able echo. Entry 2 November Echo, holding short runway 25, Dead End Sierra Charlie Oscar. 1188, Delta and Sierra Charlie Oscar, tschüss. Tower loaded and Sierra Charlie Oscar on November. nice, isn't it? Then Sierra Charlie Oscar, we are ready. Then Sierra Charlie Oscar, negative contact. Then Sierra Charlie Oscar, beach burn is inside. Behind the landing beach Duke, line up and wait, 2-5 behind Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. The Duke's gonna vacate on Charlie probably anyways, if he's not making a long landing. Did he just reverse? 5, cleared for takeoff, Delta India Sierra Charlie Oscar. Tschüss. What the hell is that? Can't keep my ass on the runway. Daniel Sierra Charlie Oscar, we're stopping and vacating Foxtrot. We're having some control issue. What is that? Could it be the crosswind? Delta Charlie Oscar. We will taxi again, runway 25, this time Bravo, when able. Bravo for November and Bravo Delta India Sierra Charlie Oscar. Could it be the crosswind? Because the engines are both running nice and smoothly. Let's just calculate what the actual wind is. We have winds from 324, the runway track is 252, that's a difference of 70. Oh yeah, of course that's a very strong crosswind. I'm going to calculate that by, it's 21 knots crosswind. I totally underestimated that. The matter with the caution light is that the battery has been quite exhausted. That's why we will need some time for the battery to reload. Anyone knows the crosswind specification for a beach? Fuck you. Maximum crosswind 2.5. crosswind 25 knots. So that should be possible, but I had the rudder full to the right. Yeah, we just not stay on the runway. I picked Bravo now to make the acceleration a little bit smoother. To hopefully be able to cope with that wind. Daniel Sierra Charlie Oscar, we are ready again. Runway 25 cleared for takeoff. Daniel Sierra Charlie Oscar. Yeah, but that's only the battery. That the battery is still charging. It's not really a warning. Let's see now if I'm only applying thrust to that side. That's gonna work. Holy smoke. You should see that crosswind, because that's the track that we're flying, that's the heading. Langude, Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar, passing 2500, climbing 5000. Ist erledigt. Level 100, Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. So that's 5.9 DME that we need. And that's right here. Data Charlie Oscar request to fly as filed and as published. Continuous file Data Charlie Oscar. I think we're using ADF1 at the moment. And as there is nothing going on at the moment, just sync that. And adjust something on the nav receivers. Okay, that's that. Let's call through the OR. And we will be tracking that QDR, QDM 031 later on. Though the chat message overlay is sponsored by HexChat, so I'm just using a separate chat program to monitor the Twitch chat. And I sound German because I am German. That's it. Alright, let's just adjust the powers a little bit here. So we are now inbound Afghan. Next waypoint is going to be Karlsruhe, and out of Karlsruhe it is, we don't need that anymore, it's the Karlsruhe to Mike arrival to Baden-Baden, NDB, right there. Then we want to enter the holding over there. What you mean you were not locked? There's a very basic step that you need to accomplish in order to lock onto the network, and it was really hard to explain all those steps because well, you can just follow me if I'm connecting to IBAO. Whoops, what was that? That was a sudden barometric pressure change, it seems. But there's pretty good tutorials about that, just where you download the software. There is some first steps how to connect and how to file your first flight plan. It's very easy to do. Let's just verify our nav receivers right here. Into nav 1 we get 115.905, that's Karlsruhe. In nav 2 we got 115.80, that's the Karlsruhe Baden-Baden DME. And that's 431, the Karlsruhe Baden-Baden NBDB. Langen, Delta Charlie Oscar. Did I say Charlie Oscar we like to follow the arrival route to Baden-Baden NDB and hold over Baden-Baden as published for about 2 or 3 orbits. After Karlsruhe, cleared Karlsruhe to Mike, enter the hold over Karlsruhe. Over, yeah, Kilo Bravo Alpha is published, Delta in SR Charlie Oscar. It's in your keybinds, so you just need to look up your keybinds, because I don't know if you've adjusted something in there, and the GPS is basically the same, so you can just use that knob to swap frequencies and use that knob to adjust the frequency. That's all you need. So still not receiving that NDB, wherever that is. that if the wind stays like that, that's going to be horrible, because that's such a strong crosswind. And that's not good for practicing holdings over NDBs, because on an NDB holding you need to compensate the crosswind on the inbound and outbound leg. On a VOR you can just follow the VOR radial on the inbound track. There's also a switch for that, so you can just map a key to that if you want to switch between radio navigation and GPS navigation. And there's also no general explanation to that, because the switch might be at a different, or is in a different position for each and every aircraft. So I cannot tell, because like here it is just over here the OBS selector knob that will change between GPS and radio navigation. Expecting 03 Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. Okay, that's putting us to a new challenge, because for that runway 03 the approach is a little bit more challenging out of the holding. So the controller just told me that I can expect runway 03, and since we will be holding this direction clockwise over that NDB, and we cannot just make a turn on the outbound leg, there's the so-called alignment turn, and this looks like that. So we fly on, we continue on the inbound leg course to 7 DME Baden-Baden, and then make an alignment turn to the NDB, and then fly on that heading 201 to 13 DME, make the right turn, align with the others. Then as Charlie Oscar will take 03. We are able everything, so. So, der Sinn und Zweck der ganzen Tour. So, the radar controller gave us the wind for Karlsruhe, but unfortunately we need the upper winds right here. And at the moment that's pretty strong winds. We could make it quite easy and just use the, because that needle is pointing to the NDB at the moment, and as you can see, if I align that with my present heading, that's 248. And the needle is pointing somewhere to 238, so that's about 10 degrees. But what we just want to do is, the track that we're going to fly is 031, and we have winds from 293, and all you need to do now yeah, the controller is constantly asking me to wave into the camera. So we'll just pick 3901, because that's 360 plus 31 minus the present wind direction, 2903. Oops. And as you can see, that's a almost perfect crosswind. So now we'll need the sinus of that. and multiply that. Whoops. Did I just do something wrong? Oh, wind direction minus course. So that's 293 minus 31 sinus 553. So that's 52.4 knots crosswind on the legs. We're gonna fly with a speed of 160. Look at that, 52 by 60 divided by our speed. That means we get a deviation track to course of 18 degrees. That means the first leg that we're gonna fly, we will stay on flight level 100. Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. Ja, das sind so 5 bis 10 Sekunden. So that would be track 211. And since the wind is blowing from that direction, we're gonna fly on a track 211 plus 18. That's 229. That's gonna be our heading. Wir machen eine vollständige Landung in Karlsruhe. Eigentlich nicht vorgesehen in der Tour, aber wir können es ja mal machen. Kriegen wir bestimmt hin, aber kann ich auch nach der Landung machen, einfach mal zum Turm winken. So we're gonna dial in that heading 229er. And when we've passed the NDB, we're gonna turn onto that heading and just slowing down to speed 170. Well, I'm not allowed to add the ATC to the stream due to the present rules and regulations of IVAO, unfortunately. Braucht noch eine Viertelstunde. Thank you. So we're just waiting to pass that NDB, and that's going to happen. And it's going to happen when the needle is spinning around. And after that we want to fly on the heading 229er to join the track 211. And then we're also going to start the timer because we're going to fly 1 minute. So just reducing for a bit more. Because the needle swing over going to happen really soon, really soon, really soon. So that was the Bing. Bam, there goes the needle. We switch to heading, we start the timer. And I want to hit that because basically the VOR is not really important. That is basically just for a reference, but that line is important because that should align with a blue line. If it does, then we are perfectly on the track 211. And if you were wondering what we're doing at the moment, we're just making the parallel entry into that published holding over that MDB. We've just passed that MDB, we're now flying on that track. Turn right here, fly inbound, and then hold right there. And we are flying heading 229er, although the track would tell us to fly 211 since there's pretty strong winds. We calculated a correction angle for that. Although the angle is looking a bit strong. So let's just reduce that a little bit. Keep an eye on the speed. This holding speed should be 170. Oh! At the timer, of course. Totally fucked that up. Because we've passed the 1 minute mark already. And I just want to turn direct inbound that DB. And then we start to hold properly. So for now it's not too bad to fly a little bit longer, but on the next leg we want to make that properly. Especially the outbound leg is quite tricky. Und ich grüße ganz besonders den Nico Zimmer. Habe ich mir gerade sagen lassen. So, shout out to Nico Zimmer, who's probably also watching the stream. The ADC that is just controlling me seems to be a friend of him. So let's just redo that calculation because for some reason I'm not trusting that. Wind direction is 292. Track that we want to fly is 211. No, that's totally wrong. 292 minus 211. That is 81. That's the angle. Sinus is 0987 and the wind speed 5.3. That's 5.2 multiplied by 60 to get that, and then divided by that, that's 18 degrees still. So our correction Ja, steht ja in meinen Remarks. So, and there we're waiting for that exciting moment again when... Okay, and now I need to wave again for the ATC. Although I tried to focus on my holding, but for now it's not that important because we're just on the entry point. We basically now completed the parallel entry, and we will see how well we did that on the tracker. Let's just take a look right here. That's us. So that was us passing the NDB. We've now turned. We now want to pass the NDB. Alright, that's it. So that's the needle now swinging over. For some reason that heading book is not working. We turn all the way to the right onto heading 229er for the outbound track. Probably or might continue. Let's see how that works first. Reduce the speed a little bit more. Der Charlie Oscar will cool. Two 229er. So now we're basically flying blind. We just can rely on the calculations that we made. Just for those of you who still didn't get it, we've just passed the NDB. We're now turning on the outbound leg, and we're not flying heading 211, but heading 229er, since we have strong crosswind blowing from that side. And to compensate for that, we're flying heading 229er to follow the track 211. That's what we're doing. Whoops. And now that the airplane starts to level out, we'll start that timer. And at exactly 1 minute, we will start the turn again. Thanks for following Nunez, or however that is spelled. We would also have to compensate for the head or tailwind component, but since that's only 1 knot, that's basically 1 second, and we don't need to compensate 1 second. It's just not necessary. So that's the 3-minute mark. Just stop the timer right here. And now this should not be 031 but 0.13. 0.13 minus 40. Because what I just now forgot was that I need to compensate also on the turn. So the turn to the inbound leg is a lot longer than the turn to the outbound leg. So we're just going to fly into that direction. We're now basically on that turn. We're just making that a little bit bigger. So heading 013. And although we don't have to, we'll start leveling out. We'll start the timer again just to verify if we hit a semi-decent I know my calculation is just wrong. Thanks for following, by the way, all you guys. Okay, the needle is now spinning. That's at 30 seconds, so that basically means that our first turn was totally crap. But anyways, we're gonna turn again. We would like to maintain level 100, Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. About 2 patterns, Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. So we will turn onto the heading 229 again. And what we can also do is just not wait for the level out, but when that line is aligned 90 degrees to our track now, that's basically started already. That's basically exactly that point. So 30 seconds. Let's just see what we did. We came from here, we made the parallel entry, that didn't look too bad. The holding's looking more like a ball, but that's due to the wind coming very strong from that side. What we could do is during the turns reduce the speed, but that's just not what you want. '56, '57, '58, '59. That's where we start the turn again, and good evening Zulu Kilo XP. So we'll wait for a deviation of about 10 to 15 degrees. That should not be a lag even, but due to the strong winds, that's what happens. So now we wait until that is aligned. The heading is 013. If you're wondering why the 0 and 3, because we've calculated a wind correction angle of 18 degrees, and the track is 031, and 031 minus 18 should be 13 degrees. Still deviating from that course. So we'll just try this time on the turn to reduce these, well, we should be reducing the speed by 50 knots, and that's almost impossible. Okay, the needle is spinning, so we also start spinning, but we will still try that. So that should be now 120 knots. Just a gear warning, we can ignore that. So heading 229. So that's exactly the point where we don't want to be too fast. So we're now basically on the outbound turn. Up again. And as we start to level out, start the timer. If you're wondering, I got the flight sim commander right here for the reference, and I just wanted to show you because that's quite impressive to show what we're actually heading to and the track that we're trying to fly. You can see here, now this circuit's going to be a lot closer than the other one. And now that's the timer. Same story again. We will wait for that needle to come closer to that, about 10 degrees deviation. Hello BB453. Thank you. That's just what it is. IFR training. It's awesome. So we'll just try to fly one more orbit to maybe be perfectly aligned with the traffic circuit like it should be. What I'm going to do when we're passing the NDB right now is I'm also going to hit the prop levers to the front to induce more braking effect. Because that will stall the propellers and therefore produce more drag. It's basically the opposite thing that a feathered propeller does. Because the feathered propeller does not produce any drag. So 229 up. If you're wondering why we pick heading 229, it's because the track is 211 with winds with 50 knots coming at an angle of about 89 degrees. And that's why we need a small wind correction angle, and we've calculated that at it's 18.5. So actually it could be also 230. As soon as we start to level out, it's right here, we start the timer again. Even with that little trick, with the reduction of the speed, you can see that that should be the holding, and that's still what we're flying, and that's just due to the wind drift. But you can see all those lines are almost parallel to that, so our wind correction angle is almost perfect, maybe a little less right here. Yeah, that turn is just always very, very long. So that's the minute again. And now we want to descend for the ILS runway 03. I'm just gonna coordinate with the ADC right here. Symmetry. ILS frequency is 109.905. Put that at 2 nav1, so you can see 109.905. So now we're going to head for the alignment turn. ZN Sierra Charlie Oscar. After Kilo Bravo Alpha, request ILS approach runway 03 as published. QNH 1020 Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. And cleared for the published ILS approach next time passing the fix. Ja, kriegen wir hin. So, QNH 1023, we want to descend initially to 6,000 feet. Now we can also speed up a bit. What we need to keep an eye on now is the DME right here. We got that in nav2. That's the DME to Karlsruhe Baden-Baden, and we need to make an alignment turn, so called. So we're now next time passing the fix, flying to 7 DME Karlsruhe, and make that alignment turn into the... Oops. Yeah, that's exactly what we did now. We've now passed the fix. We're now looking for 7 DME for the alignment turn, and all we need to do then is just fly back to the NDB. And then out of the NDB, track 201, we will just take the same wind correction angle for that. 201 means 183. I'm not mistaken. Whenever the aircraft is not descending. Actually, you're right. 6,000 was the minimum holding altitude. $5,000 is now our altitude. We're passing the 7 DME. And the good thing is that the missed approach is exactly the same. It's 7 DME to the NDB again. So, and we remember that should be about 18 degrees. Yeah, try that yourself. It's also available in English. There's no briefings in English, but the tasks themselves are in English, and you will probably be able to find out how to make a wind correction calculation yourself. But that's all you need. Oh, why is that not in English? That's the task in English. So I'll just post that link. Oops, that didn't work. So it is also available in English, no worries. Alright, now the good thing is that the same procedure that we're flying now will be the missed approach, and just in favor for the ATC we will make a low pass at Karlsruhe, at Baden-Baden, and after low pass we're just gonna follow the missed approach, and that's exactly the same. So the long line is the missed approach, and the short dotted line is the alignment turn. So passing the fix, we want to turn onto track 201. As I said, we need to compensate for the wind, so we add 18 degrees. We ate 18 degrees, and that's 219. Why is that aircraft climbing, by the way? Oh. Simply because der Tower ist meines Wissens nach in der Mitte der Runway auf der Westseite. Okay. That should be the tower position, I think. So when we're passing the fix, so we want to turn onto the east. Yeah, the problem with that chart is that it's not aligned to north. So, and we need to turn left a little bit more, because we want that needle to point direct to 201. Genau, the Netflix. Beobachtet. So, the turn starts at 13 DME. Just reduce the speed a bit here. Notice that the frequency is not correct. Should be 109 and 905. Jesus Christ. 109 and 905. There it is. So we're at 7 DME. DME is right over there. Now we're on that, almost on that QDR, and the wind is a little bit lower over here, so we will only need half of that wind correction angle. So 11 DME. During the tour we also want to descend to 4000. they're going to be glad to translate all the briefings, especially into English, because I think the briefings, it's what the IFR tour makes it really also a learning tour, which is also quite fun, because without that you're just gonna have the but not the, let me just calculate that angle, 350, let's say 355. Oh, coming in already. It's probably because of our speed being way too high. Overshot the localizer slightly. P0 Triclé to land Delta Sierra Charlie Oscar. Those weather refreshings are very refreshing. See, there's the tower, so we're gonna make a right turn. So we're just gonna make the landing first. Data Charlie Oscar. So we're first gonna make the landing and then make some fun on that airfield again. Genau. No, that was over here. I think somebody should increase the light intensity of the airport. Just wondering why my cockpit is so bright. Das wäre nett, ja. That's probably the scattered clouds that are hanging at 700 feet. Or the broken clouds at 2,400. Although we should be through that already. So 5 DME. Let's start reducing. For some reason the autopilot seems to have big issues to track that VOR with the crosswind. Maybe I just did something wrong, I don't know. Jetzt sehen wir es auch. Yeah, that could also be because in some airports I actually ported that airport over, and I think I didn't fix the nav aids, so it could be perfectly right that the nav receiver is just off. But no problem, we get everything inside. We're landing. That's a little bit flat approach. Is there a taxiway over here? Right hand side, gate of choice, da ist ja Radschaljausgabe ist gleich. Das mache ich doch gerne. Das mache ich doch gerne. Traumhaft. Ups. I could just find out where the general aviation terminal is. take an apron. So that's a tower position. Apron 2. Thank you. So that will be here. So that's cool. Good thing that there is no golf taxiway on my chart anymore. And we are on golf, stupid me, and that's kilo. So that should lead us straight to apron 2. Ah, there it is. So, oh, we can still wave outside of the window. Hello. Thanks for following all you guys. That's doing